This is regarding the short film Quandary. I really enjoyed the quiet and stillness of this film. I thought the sound with the wind and the fire, just the the stillness and the wind and the fire, just in the radio, of course, just set such an interesting tone to this film. No dialogue at all, but it definitely keeps you engaged. I thought it had a nice pace to it. It was still and slow, but not too slow. It still had a lot of good energy as well. This is 2042 in Turkey, and this in June, and the temperatures are insanely low. I actually was like, how is this guy surviving without any gloves or a heavier coat? Um, it just looked terrible. And also just trying to, yeah, to me, this is about climate change, of course. And I noticed, when he was pulling out his net, trying to get fish, he was pulling out mostly just trash, which is terrible. So to me, it was about pollution and climate change, the environment, and taking care of the environment because of, what's to come. And the fact that there was a huge food shortage, and he finally got a fish. From what I understood, he was like fishing every day, trying to get a fish in his net. And he finally got one, a small one, but when he brought it inside, for whatever reason, he didn't eat it. And then he kept, he fed it, and then seemed like he was trying to figure out if there were more fish in that area, or I don't know really why he went to the area with the boat to let the fish go. I'm not sure what the connection was there, or what his determination was there as to why he let the fish go over there instead of the place he got the fish from. Maybe he was thinking the fish couldn't find food over there, so he wanted the fish to live. I think he just had a change of heart. Instead of eating the fish, he thought that they were both trying to survive, so he was going to keep the fish alive and help it to live. That's kind of what I got from it. There, it was maybe open to a little bit of interpretation, but I kind of got that it was about, this is where we're headed if we don't take care of our oceans and our environment. And then, he was alone too, which made me wonder, where everybody else was. I know people were on the radio, but was there less people in his area because they were dying? Just a really interesting film. I thought it was just really interesting. And I really liked the camera work, the close-ups on his face. I thought the actor was really good. He just had really subtle moments with his face, and body movements. And I liked it. Made me feel sad though, like what's going to happen? Is he going to die? So well done. Really interesting, and good cinematography and lighting and all of that. Editing. And I hope you guys do great. Good job.
Quandary. This was a wonderful, wonderful piece. It was really artistically done. In that, it was intentional about how quiet the film was, and the sounds that were used were very intentional to either tell the story or create the world, which it did so well. I felt cold and isolated watching it. When he put his hands on the ground and his ear down, I was like, oh my God, that must be so cold. The wind blowing and howling, all of it. The kind of like theme of bread all throughout, where we know that food is scarce and he's rationing, and then we see him sharing the bread with the fish. Maybe in an attempt to catch them, but then when he does catch a fish, he ends up releasing it back in. And that there was like a close-up of his face after he releases the fish, and it can kind of be interpreted in however you want it to, but I saw it as like not regret, but like, what did I just do? Why did I just do that? Was that the right choice? Like, there was so much happening behind the eyes, and it just goes to show you what a talented actor this man is. His face has so much character, has so much expression to it, and I think that that's really important for a film like this where there is no dialogue. Um, Really great job capturing this world. Even though his world is quite small, it's literally just this like kind of structure thing that he lives in, and then just frozen tundra. Um, so his world is small, uh, but we get a sense of the overall kind of tone of it. And I think this was so well done for so many reasons, and I really, really enjoyed watching it. It was very like deep and intentional, and I appreciated that.
Hi, these are my thoughts on Quandary. I love this short. I think that the filmmakers did a really great job of telling a story with such little dialogue, with the exception of that first voiceover, which gives you pretty much all the information that you need. I also love the use of light, that opening shot with the lighter flick, and then when you push open from the darkness of that like hovel into like the crisp whiteness of that tundra, was so powerful and really beautiful filmmaking. Um, and I think the story, like the isolation, I think they did a really great job picking the location. And that actor really did embody the story. I think a lot of the close shots on him really show how skilled he is and his use of like his physicality and emotion, and it was really pensive and had a lot of tension, and I think there was a lot of meticulous filmmaking done, particularly with the sound design and the use of like color, the stark white. I think they did a great job in picking the location, the stark white of the tundra versus like the darkness of the hovel. The use of color, whoever the colorist was, really went off. And that final image of him tossing the fish into the hole, and you kind of see it float up to the surface, really does it really does stick with you. And I think that that was the intention. I think it was really beautifully done. I think the use of silence is also really great. There's this, not just in the lack of dialogue, but in the lack of sound, period, where you really only hear like the howling of the wind, or you really only hear the crackling of the fire. All of that stuff was really powerful, and I think really did a great job to further the narrative.
This film is called Quandary. This is a quiet, future based short. We find ourselves in 2047 in Turkey, and everything is under a deep freeze. A lone man takes care of himself. What is notable about this film is its ability to create the isolation of the man. His only connection to others is his radio. The setting of the cozy tent and a place to ice fish outside really work for the film, as does the slow orchestral strains and the howling wind. I like the writing in this one as he goes through the motions of feeding himself and catching a lone fish that he doesn't actually eat. Well done.
I love the visuals in Quandary. I love the sense of solitude that's created on film, that makes the quandary with the fish so much more tangible for us as an audience. I just thought it was a really beautiful short film, and really worth watching.
This ship is for Quandary. This film is so beautiful, even though it's quite tragic, and I don't think it's science fiction at all. The location in a future reality where the climate impacts has made a frozen, apparently permanently frozen scenery, where hunger, crime is still it's just pervasive. And on top of that, we have just, of course, no food. the This individual, who is amazingly performed, isn't selfish and respects and protects other living creatures in spite of all of this. I love the music as well, and it's just a nice testament of what can become of humans. It was just terrifying. Like I had a great time with the performance and the setting in this Arctic scenery. It was very adorable to watch.
This had great sound design. The wind echoing almost made me cold. The splashing of the water with the fish. They had a really good sound mixer on this because the sound design is phenomenal. You could feel the isolation of the sky, the fact that the only dialogue is through the radio. This made this a very unique film, but also it's also very artistic, and it stands out on its own as an artistic piece of cinema. It's one of those things that you can feel the isolation and loneliness, which is hard to capture. And the filmmakers happened to do that, and it was through cinematography, sound design, and so much more.